Welcome to the Level Method Chalk Talk podcast. My name is Scott Ramage, and in this episode, we have Jeff Giosi from Community Fitness of Morgantown in West Virginia. Jeff's owned that gym for 6 years. It has been in business for 8. Jeff is the only level 3 trainer in West Virginia. Super cool. He's a father of 2 kids. Under 2 years, which that's like a whole nother business of its own. And he enjoys competitively exercising. And just recently, like a few weeks ago at the most, he got 6th overall at the Masters Fitness Collective Championship. Welcome, Jeff. How you doing, my man?
Great, brother. How are you? And I got to give you props. We do a podcast too. Doing those intros is tough. Well done. Well
Thank
done.
you. Yeah. It's taken a while to get those nailed down, and it's go ahead.
And chalk talk back to back. It not fumbling over that. Well done, buddy.
Lots of practice. Yeah. So you just wrapped up this competition not too long ago. You were sending me pictures. It was pretty exciting, and let's talk about that to start. Everybody loves to talk about competition.
Super fun. So the 2020 pandemic world that we live in, when the Masters and the teams got canceled at the games, organizations kind of already existed, but didn't really do what they ended up doing for Masters and for teens, where some people stepped up and they're like, hey, this was canceled at the games. What does it look like? Could we pull this off? Could we create something for the Masters athletes? Could we create something for the teen athletes? That was, I came up with a really long-winded name. It was the pandemic, travel restricted, CrossFit Games National, all in one, where essentially because of travel restrictions, it became almost like an age group nationals, but it gave us a culmination to the season. So what they did is they took the people who, the top 10 in the age group qualify for the CrossFit Games. They extended invitations to the top 10 in the world. Obviously, some people couldn't come because of travel restrictions. Then they went between 10 and 20 and 20 to 30. And then if they still didn't have 10 people in each age group, they opened it up for a online qualifier to backfill those spots. So I placed 23rd worldwide in the age group qualifier. So I was the second round of invites, and I made it in. I was the 8th overall seed, and boom, came in 6th.
Nice, man. So I have to ask, and I have to ask, your level in Level Method, what is it? Because I'm trying to equate the overall level with where you're placing in the world here.
Yep, it is competition red level. I believe I ran my fastest mile of my life, and I believe I got bumped up. I'm red level 1 or 2.
That's amazing. So that is definitely showing that it's an elite competitive.
And that's at a I'm in the 40 to 44-year-old division.
Yeah.
So maintaining that red as long as you can gives you that if you are looking to compete. Yeah.
That's awesome. So was that an enjoyable? I mean, I would think it's an enjoyable competition where you would like completely beat afterwards, or
really interesting. So what they did is the owner of CrossFit Invictus programmed it all, and it was amazing programming. It was awesome. It's been years since I competed as an individual. I like teams share the workload.
Right.
And this was a 4-day event. There were 10 events over the course of 4 days. So there was a lot of brand new experiences for me. I didn't know how I was going to feel. I would say the experience itself was incredible. I rate my overall performance a 7.5 because I actually, podcast my wife and I talked about, I was afraid. I didn't know what I was going to feel like in day 4. So I actually trained harder than I competed because I was afraid to fail a little bit.
Yeah.
So I didn't take risks. I operated well within my comfort zone, and I think the high end, the guys in my age group that were first and second were absolute mutants. But I think maybe my high end could have been 3rd or 4th, but I couldn't experience that because I didn't allow myself to take those even manageable risks.
Yeah. I would imagine that's a big part of it. Is like the whole planning and making sure it's strategery, if you will. So do you feel like, let's bring this back to Level Method because I think it's relevant. Do you feel like any of the levels on the map made you push a little harder and helped your performance in this competition?
So as an athlete and a competitive exerciser, what I love about Level Method and my own use is it allows me to see holes in my competitive game. So not really using it like, does this match up? Can I push harder? I look at it as where are my strengths? Where are my weaknesses? What do I have to do to be a more complete athlete? And for the longest time, my run was in black. It was the only black that I had. And so what I did is, knowing that on Thursdays every week, I would put dedicated stamina endurance training in. And Scott, I can tell you, there was a 1 mile time trial in the competition.
Oh,
It opened up with a 1 rep max snatch, 1 mile time trial, 1 rep max snatch. And I can so happily tell you that 1 mile, I am now red. I
that's
ran a
right.
5:57, and I honestly, I don't care about coming in sixth. I care more about winning colors. I won red.
That's an awesome outlook. I love that. It's a great testament to kind of what the power of having a way to objectively look at
Yeah,
where you're at in a level or in a certain movement or category. This
absolutely.
one being run. I mean, be able to snatch heavy and then run a sub 6, sub 5, or in mid 5-minute mile is pretty extraordinary, and it definitely takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. I was talking
Yeah,
to Andrew Rape 2 years ago,
yeah.
and he was in the he was a great athlete,
Hmm.
and we were looking at the map back then, and black was the highest level, and he said, man, I can do black in every single category. It just
Yeah,
wouldn't be in the same month. And I thought that was awesome because he's like,
yeah,
like, absolutely, all of these, you bet. But the month that I'm got my deadlift pull or my snatch up to those numbers is not the month I'm running at my best. So it's really
yeah.
kind of cool. And he got it really fast as a competitor, which is not the angle that Level Method really dives
Sure.
into. It's not where we're at. So I really love hearing those things.
Hmm.
How long have you been using Level Method in your gym?
And then let me.
Oh,
So the event was snatch, run a mile, and then the remaining time up to 17 minutes, snatch again. And your score was twofold. It was the combined weight that you snatched, and then your mile. So what I love is when you talk about API, when you talk about the availability to be able to recover,
mm-hmm.
even if I snatched well in the first round, ran a really hard mile, but then couldn't produce in that second snatch, essentially my first snatch was worthless. So understanding analytically where I was and what my body could, being able to go sub 6 in a mile, I don't get me wrong, I still sat around and changed my shoes for about 2 or 3 minutes,
Yeah.
but I was still able. My first snatch was 2:35. I came back at a 2:30 snatch. So even
Wow.
after running the best mile of my life, there was only a 5-pound difference. So if anything, Level Method, looking at it objectively like that, gave me the confidence that I knew even after running the best mile that I've run in my later years of adult life, right? Even running the best mile, I was still able to recover and come back and still hit a really competitive snatch.
Yeah, that's a testament to
Mhm.
also the different levels and what kind of where you understand your capacity. You have a very deep understanding of your capacity when you've been around it for a while. So that's
Yeah.
really cool. That's yeah. So you knew what your engine was able to do, and you trained for
Uh-huh.
it, which is great.
Yep.
So back to that question: how long have you been with Level Method?
So e- everything gets a little segmented in our current 2020 world. We
Yeah,
did, we did our first global assessment January 2020.
that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, yep. So
And
say no more.
as so my plan was, and we talked about this, we set this up, you know, testing every 3 to 4 months, kind of that quarterly, and with the open in October, and then moving back to its regular time and date in February and March, like adjusting that. So once kind of pandemic worldwide hit and gyms were closed, I was actually planning on doing another assessment in April or May,
Yeah.
but we shut down in the middle of March, and with no real idea how long we were going to be shut down for, that became challenging because then I knew that I know how powerful of a tool it is, and we talk about this even in the onboarding. It's not the first assessment. that really is where the magic happens, it's the second one. So having it pushed back and not really having a date on it was really, really challenging for me. And then I don't know Level Method affiliate owners if they went through this. I wrestled with the idea because some people did Zoom every day with us, some people didn't, and you're not testing weightlifting really because what do people have in their house? And we even rent out equipment, but there's still logistics there. There was a part of me that wanted to jump right back into Level Methods
Right.
when we come back up,
Yeah.
to give people a real assessment of like, did you actually do anything during quarantine? Where are you now? And how do we, pun intended, get to that next level?
Yep.
The reason I didn't do it is because I think one of the underlying factors that everyone actually wants, I don't think people lift weights to get stronger. I think they lift weights and work out for confidence. And what I didn't want to do, I didn't want to bring people in. All right, let's say, Scott, let's say you were blue level on weightlifting. And then you come back into the gym after it being closed for 8 weeks and throw on that weight. And your position, you're just neurologically, you're not going to be able to move the same way.
Right.
Flexibility, have you been stretching? All of a sudden you put this heavy workload on, and even if you get it, you're probably going to get hurt doing it. So even though I wanted to give that really, really clear baseline where people were, I didn't think it was in our best interest to do it then. And so what I did is I did basically an anatomical adaptation phase for 8 weeks, coming back to the gym, and then went into another global assessment. So our first assessment was in January, and we just finished up our second one. Essentially was August.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
about 8 months.
I would guess the real magic for you then is assessment number 3. I mean, I haven't asked you how it went, but with 2020 being the way it is, it changes everything. People's emotional availability is different. Their physical is tied to their emotional, and their overall well-being. So we had people on both sides of the fence on that. Like, no, I want people to see what happened when they were sedentary, and I want them to know. And I think that's a cultural thing. I think that lies in what's the culture of your gym,
right,
and how do the people perceive Level Method? Because some gyms have people that come into Level Method after that first assessment, and they come at it with everything they got, like an open.
Yeah.
They're there to throw down. They are there to PR. And then there's gyms where it's like, hey, you've been gone. Let's just, I equate it to axe throwing. You have this bullseye. I'm just lucky if I hit the board, and it sticks. So let's just try to get something to stick. And they take that approach, and because they want to give people a real assessment, like, hey, look what the gym's done. You were gone, this went down, and then you're back. We assess again, and you're back up. So it really depends on how your overall culture views things, and you have to have your finger on the pulse of that. Absolutely. So
and my gym, they love it. I'll be honest with you. One of my favorite assessments is the 20-minute row. And and as unsexy as that seems, it's not the first 17 minutes. I love watching athletes corral around a rower, and the amount of hype in the last 3 minutes. That is one of my favorite moments during the assessment. And so what I didn't want, for me, I put restrictors on it. I didn't want people going that hard when they got back to the gym, because it's inevitable. That's the environment that I wanted to create, but I didn't want that. I didn't want people to write checks that their body couldn't cash.
Yeah, it's really respectable. It makes sense. Yeah.
So I pulled back and let them acclimate to training again, because it did happen. Even we have our 10 by 10 wad pods, and they're 6 feet apart. People are on the edge of their wad pod yelling to the rower. Like it happened organically anyway. So I actually knew it would. So I wanted to pull back a little bit from that.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that you had the ability to kind of perceive the way that it was going to be taken, what moments would occur based on how and when you did it. And that's kind of really what I wanted to talk to you about today, because I think one, you've shared with me way more than has been shared in the Legion. You share with me your moments as people get their certificates. And, we have, I've highlighted Underwood Park Underwood Hill Park CrossFit a lot, which is Michael Plank and his wife. They run that gym, and they are masters at the power moments. Like, just everything is promoted. And then I've highlighted you and your gym because I can tell that the hype is real.
Yeah.
And so it's like almost next level. I don't know what your consistency is, but you're almost in the way that you're doing is next level. Like, you can tell wholeheartedly that everybody in there, at least they're on average, everyone in there is pumped.
Yeah.
And so that's what I wanted to talk about. Like, you've only been through 2 assessment cycles, and I'm really basing this mostly on the first. You gave me some photos of this time, and I've been following, and I've been really impressed. Why? How did you get that to happen? You're a super strong dude. You're this force. Honestly, if you're a red, you're a force. And then you got people doing silly things and having an awesome time and posing. And I'm like, there's something here that people need to hear.
That is a great question. I'll start with a little bit of a story. When I met my wife, I was working in a bar, and she said, "So besides working in the bar and working out, what do you do?" And I think the image that you just created with my red level, that's what people see.
Yeah,
That's not who I am as a person.
I love that.
I am, and I'll be honest with you, when my wife sent that text message to me when we first met, I didn't talk to her for a year and a half. It offended me because it's not who I am. Working out and fitness is something that I do. It's not who I am. So my personality is super overboard, super goofy, super funny. And what I'll do is after this, I'll send you a couple pictures that were taken at the Masters Collective. I am in championship workouts, smiling, laughing, posing for the camera. That fitness should be an experience that you enjoy and is fun. And I don't know if it was placed there specifically, maybe you created this moment, but over your right shoulder is Power of Moments.
Yeah.
And to me, that book meant so much to me. Actually, as a staff, we're going through it right now.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And my wife is creating a study guide for it and going through like what moments in your life, and we're creating the framework for it. That's what life is to me. It's about creating those moments. I don't care if you're white, yellow, red, black, like it doesn't matter. I want to celebrate those achievements. During this last global assessment, and to me, the red level certificates and those pictures, that's the manifestation of everything that happened. So I brought this moment up a couple times to my staff. One of my favorite moments from this last assessment, we had a woman who just started after we opened back up, and Scott, she could not do a single under. She couldn't do one. And this was, the neurological core started, and she couldn't do one. I don't care what level. She left that day. She was able to do 4 single unders.
Yes.
I don't need a certificate. I don't need a piece of paper. I celebrated that moment more with her than I celebrated any of the reds. So to me, it's that moving up ceremony. Here's your red. Whatever. That is an outpouring of what you do, the work that you put in, celebrating all those little moments that don't necessarily get a certificate along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is powerful. That is where I think gyms that kind of take a hold of that and really win, because you had an opportunity in that situation to have a person go away completely deflated and defeated, thinking, and the mindset wasn't, I only got 4. The mindset is I went from 0 to 4.
Yeah.
And that's massive accomplishment. And then that could have gone both ways.
Absolutely.
It could have gone so badly. You could have lost somebody, and it really could have torn apart their self-esteem. So I want to rewind and go on a personal soapbox moment here.
Yeah.
You told me that you don't take your identity is not in your fitness.
Yeah.
And it's something that I am so passionate about. And
Yeah.
and I think that that's incredible. And I think when I think about that, I think that plays a huge role in the fact that your people are buying into Level Method.
Mhm.
I think, we could probably, honestly, you and I could talk about that alone for an hour. I know we could,
Right.
but I think that having that mindset of your identity and your members' identities are not in their fitness
Mhm.
level. And I think that's probably a pretty big differentiator. So kudos on that.
For me, what that comes down to is my personality. I was born and raised in Long Island, New York. I am very sarcastic. So I and we talked. I put up videos. I communicate with my members in every way that I can because I know that everyone learns differently. So we use Wodify. I type things in Wodify. I'll put videos in Wodify. I communicate on Facebook. I do Facebook Lives. I communicate through every channel that I absolutely can because someone's going to hear it differently. And one of my big points is, guys, look, you can't win colors. You being, if you're level black, it doesn't make you a good person. Like, and one of the lines that I use is, if you could deadlift 300 pounds and then in 6 months you can deadlift 600 pounds, but you're still a butthole, like making you 300 pounds stronger didn't make you a good person.
Right.
And if you're putting your worth and value in that, you're never actually going to come out on the other side, and you're never going to be satisfied with any of your accomplishments because you're never going to get there.
Yeah.
Being red level isn't going to instantly make you happy. If you didn't find gratitude in the journey of life before then, winning a color on a Level Method map isn't going to fix it for you. And then also, it gives them grace. So if they were blue and they go to orange, it doesn't ruin their life.
Exactly.
They're still a human being. They're still a good person. It doesn't define who they are.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you just kind of gave me the perfect segue into the next question I had.
Yeah.
Was another observation I made is that you communicate really well. And I've seen, so personally, I've seen you do live video. I think they have live videos. I've seen you do
Mhm.
videos. I've seen your Wodify
Yeah.
explanations like the assessments are coming up and you have this like,
Mhm.
hey, enjoy the process, this movement, just get on the map. And you
Yeah.
like, there's no guessing. I've seen that in your Wodify feed. I've seen it in your videos. I've seen it in your posts. So um I want to talk about that a bit because I
Yeah.
think that's I think people think of that as like just massive time, but I think of it as reducing so much work later down the road.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
so has that always been something you've done?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, if I pull up Wodify from 4 years ago, it was a workout with no explanation, no purpose, no why. And the evolution as a human being for me is, Scott, I'll be honest with you, I don't think when I first bought the gym in 2014, I don't think I fully knew who I was as a
Right.
person. I think I was still trying to figure that out. And so what I love is, I heard this years ago, I think it was from Ben Bergeron, the affiliate will take on the personality of the owner. And so when I became an owner in 2014, there were two other owners that we eventually bought out, but it was kind of the identity of the affiliate. We were fighting, and I didn't really know who I was. I didn't know the role that I played. And then as I've gotten older and my wife and I bought out the other two owners, we've really refined who we are as people and what our mission and what our purpose is. And so for me, what it comes down to is, how much value can I add to the members' lives? And if I can clearly articulate why they're doing something, and this is a cliche in strength conditioning, you can write the perfect program. It could be black and white, X's and O's. It could be the absolute perfect program. If the person doing it doesn't buy into you as a human being, they're not going to be connected to that program. So it's a lot better to have an average program and someone they completely trust and buy into than a perfect program and someone they don't trust at all. So I want to get the message across through video, through text, depending on how that person learns, what I believe fitness should be. It should be a catalyst in your life to creating your best life, it shouldn't be your life. So the more times that I can say that, the more different ways that I can say that and get that into the members, the more they're going to understand it.
Yeah.
My wife and I, with our 2 children, we talk about this. She read a stat. I think a 2-year-old has to hear something 1,000 times to commit it to memory. So I think about being an affiliate owner as I would a parent. How would I want my 2-year-old to learn and grow and respond? It's going to take several different ways of communicating with him. And how can I do that? And what do I want for his life? I think about the same thing for my members.
I think that's a huge key. I taught for 13 years in public
Yeah.
schools as a middle school teacher, and
Bless you.
I could thanks, but I could stand up and have a conversation. I never just did a presentation. It's all me. I preferred conversations. I could stand up, have a conversation, and present some information and have a great talk about it. And half the class would have no clue what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then so for me, it was like, what can I do kinesthetically? What can I do verbally? What can I do with reading? What can I do with art? All these different things. And that was the success. That was the way that we were able to move kids forward. In my experience, why don't we take that type of approach with our members? Like, they're not all going to read emails. There's people that have 4,000 unread emails in their phone. Okay. Yeah. I'm a 0 email guy. So then there's people who have 4,000 unread texts on their phone. Then there's people who have 4,000 total conversations in their life. They didn't listen to a word they said. It went right through their head. Yep. And we have to realize that we cannot put out one form of communication and expect it to stick. So I think that's
can't
key.
Coach. And so with quarantine WOD pod restricted, we have 14 in a class. That's 14 different personalities.
Yeah.
I can't coach. Like, if to me, it's the quality of coaching. If I coach them all the same, 7 of them, 8 of them might get it. That's not on them. Right. I own that responsibility. That I am a terrible coach then.
Right.
And understanding on a deeper level what everyone wants, what their goals are. And like I said, it's not fitness. That's something that's going to give them confidence to actually get whatever their goal is. But understanding how to communicate to that person and how they're going to receive it. My wife and I are big on this. During the interview process, during our onboarding process for new coaches, we have them take an Enneagram test. We have them take a love language test, because what we think as human beings is the way that we receive love best is the way that we should give it, and the way that other people receive it best. That's not true. My number one love language is physical touch. If I went around touching all my members, Scott, like, that wouldn't be a good thing.
Right.
So understanding how people receive love is what's going to create that moment in their life.
Yeah, that's incredible. I think that's a big point to that every business owner, not just gym owners, but every business owner, and I've talked with certain individuals who are experts at this. Brian, I can't even think of his name right now, but that's gonna kill me. Anyway, he does the Colby test, and it's all about these conative skills. And then I talk with gyms who use all these different things. And I know Alex with Level Method, she's on the Level Method staff. She uses the Enneagram, and these are people that are succeeding really well with putting people in the right seats in their roles. And also what we don't realize is that we have to teach them how to address people outside of the way that they expect. It's the old saying, people judge you on your actions and you judge yourself on your intentions. So the way we see everything we're doing is perfect. The way everybody else is seeing is the way it's actually coming out. And if our intentions are to help, but we're touching somebody who does not have touches. Yeah. So that's a really incredible point of view. And I think it's really important, imperative for gym owners to really take a hold of that and take inventory of if that's something that they're playing into. Another thing I wanted to recap that you said was that the gym will take on the personality of the owner. And this is going to sting for some folks. I mean, it really is. But if you never grow past a certain number, my true belief is that is absolute reflection on the person in the front. And that's really hard for some folks to hear. It's not a death sentence. It's not like you're never going to go past 60 members. That is not the point. And if you're wanting to grow, that is the point. Is you got to do some work on yourself, and you got to look at what is it? What type of people am I attracting? Okay, I've got that nailed down. What kind of people am I not? So I love those points that you made. That's really great.
My wife and I talk about it a lot, and it was probably about 2 years ago that we had a really deep conversation. Are we the problem?
Oh, wow.
And when you start from there and then build a framework backwards, are we the problem? Because are we, and so a lot of this come like the ideas that we have. Jocko's book is great, Extreme Ownership, where
it is.
It's if you own everything, that gives you the power to change it. So having those conversations, am I what's holding the team back? Am I, and really reflectively thinking about that, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities, and you can grow from that, opposed to like you said, it's not a death sentence. Finding that out and realizing it and being able to move forward from it is so powerful.
Yeah. That's excellent. So I want to wrap up with just some thoughts of yours.
Wrap up. We're just getting started, buddy.
I know. So trust me, I know. I want to wrap up with some thoughts on yours about, doing level method. You haven't been on that long, and we have to almost negate all of the March through almost now. But having gone through the assessment now 1.5 times or 2 times, what is a tip or takeaway that you wish you would have known from me or anybody else at Level Method before you did this?
I thought the onboarding process was pretty thorough. I mean, there's ins and outs of different movements, and I'll still send you messages and check for clarification. I tried to do like really, really quick, knock it out in 2.5 weeks the first time that we did it.
Right.
And I like that for this is our in season. Like, let's keep the hype for 2.5 weeks and crush it and then move on. This time I did it completely differently. I did it over the course of a month.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you, and it's a framework that you guys have built in the education. That worked way better.
Yeah.
In my brain, 2 weeks was going to be better. Doing it over the course of a month worked better. Everyone kept better energy. You can't just continue to hit the gas pedal for 2.5 weeks and expect good results. So I was a lot more systematic in my approach. I had the entire month blocked out where we were going to do which one to optimize their best performance. And in large, I kept the groups together. But we didn't do lactic tolerance. But I gave a day. We did lactic tolerance on a Friday, and we front squatted on Monday, and I did upper body pull on Tuesday.
Right.
Gave them a couple recovery pieces, and I talked about this in Wattify. And the days that we're not doing level method assessment are not meant for you to kill yourself.
Yeah.
They're primers built to put you in a really good place to maximize your potential in that assessment. Mm-hmm. So giving them the idea and the grace to like, hey, I'm just going to move and I'm going to feel good. My goal is tomorrow. Giving them that ability and getting the idea, you don't have to kill yourself every single day to get better at fitness.
Right.
And so it actually created more hype doing it over a month, because you drain people's energy bank if you just keep demanding it. This gave them a couple days to rest, hit it again, rest, and it works so much better.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And it is so interesting to watch all these different gym owners bring on their second, third, fourth round, a totally different way of doing it. And they're continuing to fine tune it. And it spans from people like, I want it done in a week, and our members love it for a week, to I want it done in a month and a half. It's crazy how big. And I think having a mindset from that first assessment, like really thinking through, reflecting every day, how did this go? Mm-hmm. What was the feedback? And that's one thing I like to tell people is like, really listen to your members. not just the whiners, but just listen, not with only your ears, but look for the attitude coming in, the attitude going out. Yeah. And so I that's a wonderful point. Is there is no one way to skin this for every gym.
Right.
Yeah.
And a couple of things that I did, understanding the pandemic world that we live in. I know one of, like, you guys love the pictures with everyone at the map. It's awesome. People like lining their fingers up.
I got changed
in the world of social distancing, like, what does that look like? So what I did is, and again, this is time, you mentioned that, every day in Wodify, I handwrite the entire level for, like, white dash, white 1, white 2, yellow.
Right.
I had all the marks there. So no one ever, they could just pull up their phone and Wodify. And it wasn't like, oh, what is this? What is this? It was all right there at the touch of their finger. I wanted to make it as accessible and easy for them to see where those levels were and not get confused. And the morning when they wake up, they didn't have to wait to get to the gym to look at the map. Yep. Everything was right there. So they can plan out their strategies. They can do everything. And I think that went really, really well. And the way Wodify works is, now that I've done it and I created that benchmark workout,
it's there.
The next time we do the assessment, all I do is plug in that benchmark workout and the work's already done.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're changing all the levels next week. I'm joking. The good thing is for those who are using the one that's going to be integrated in our app, the Chalk It Pro, they're going through an assessment right now with the same thing. Every single level is in there, and the feedback is, my members love the ability to plan. They love the ability to see afterwards. It really gives them a little more ownership on how that outcome is coming. So kudos on doing all that work, because that is a massive load of work. Entering all that.
I'm dyslexic. I can't tell you how many times I screwed it up and went back and had to go fix it.
It's a lot of work. Yeah. That's awesome. I can't imagine every time when we made the last change on the map, I can't imagine going into that file and that art file and you change the words. And of course, then the alignment changes. And I know Sean has done all that work. And I really like that must have taken an immense amount of, patience. So yeah, good job. I think that's a really good point, is giving that access to folks, letting them really kind of think about it, download it in their own mind, in their own way. And then with the social distancing, things are changing. Yeah, we can't be gathered around the map anymore. So yeah, that's a good point. Well, man, I really, really appreciate you coming on with me today. I think you brought a tremendous amount of value, and I would really encourage those listening, if you didn't take notes, and you need to do it, go back, circle back around, because some great stuff. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Absolutely. And I am a free open book. I love to open source everything. I think we can all make each other better. So if you guys listen to this, reach out to me on Facebook, send me an email, jeff@crossfitmorgantown.com. Haven't updated that name yet. I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about how can we as a community add value. So please reach out to me. I would love to start a conversation.
Yeah, and I'll tag you in the post in the Legion when we post this up, and people, you got the open opportunity to chat with Jeff. He is really fun to message with. He's really fun to talk with. I'll attest to that. On that end, thank you so much for listening to the Legion Chalk Talk. We really appreciate you. We appreciate you taking the time to better yourself and better your business. Please hit the subscribe button so you don't ever miss one of these amazing nuggets from owners again. And thank you for being a listener.